bookish besties, and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to spend a few cozy days with you doing some bookish stuff. Today we're going to take a trip to Barnes & Noble. I'm so excited. I have a gift card from work, so I'm planning on getting a few books, grabbing an iced pumpkin chai, which is my favorite drink from Starbucks right now. I do highly recommend. Some of my other plans for today are to give you a book haul when I get back, and to spend some time reading my current read with you. My current read is The Fall of Bradley Reed, which is a 'Tis the Season for a Revenge novel. So the season in which that takes place is during the fall, obviously. Our main character, Olivia, gets left at the altar, and she plans revenge on her ex, Bradley Reed. And then this FBI agent is watching her, and they wind up falling in love. So I think I'm about, I want to say I'm like 30% of the way through that book. I'm back from the bookstore and I want to give you guys a little mini haul of what I got. So as you can see, the Barnes & Noble that I went to has a cute little cafe. I got my iced pumpkin chai. It is one of the newer Barnes & Nobles, so it has like all like the open shelving, and I do like the vibes of the new Barnes & Nobles, but I also kind of like and miss the vibes of the older ones, which I have some by me that also are like the older vibes. Not gonna lie, I do like the newer version, and I also think they have better books there. Here's the little haul. I got 3 books. I'm very excited to show you guys what I got. So the first one that I got is actually the 10-year anniversary edition of a book. It has a movie and everything. This cover caught my eye and I'm really excited to read it. So it's Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. Look at how cool that cover is. It's just like so psychedelic, and it's got like those nature vibes. So it's basically this area was cut off from like the rest of the world for decades, and nature reclaimed it. And so these 4 women, an anthropologist, a surveyor, a psychologist, and a biologist, they want to like map the terrain, basically study the whole area. They have to not get like infected. So I think there's gonna be some like crazy like creatures going on, very like new naturalistic things. So I'm very excited. And then there's a movie with Natalie Portman and the guy that plays Moon Knight, so I will be watching that as soon as I'm done with this. And this is a quartet, so I'm gonna see if I like this one, and then I'll read the rest of the books. Then I got this new book. I don't know when it came out, but I've just never seen it before, so I'm gonna assume it's new. It is called Long Live Evil, and I just love the cover. Look at that. And it says it's time for your villain era, and I'm always in my villain era. So, a tale for anyone who's ever fallen for the villain. As her whole life collapses, Ray still has books. So that already got me. Dying, she seizes a second chance at living, a magical bargain that lets her enter the world of her favorite fantasy series. She wakes in a castle on the edge of a hellish chasm, home to the once and forever Emperor, her favorite fictional character. He is impossibly alluring as only fiction can be. However, in this fantasy world, she discovers that she's not the heroine, but the villainess in the Emperor's tale. Time to assemble a rogues gallery of villains and hatch an evil plot. And it got so much praise from so many different people that I love. Leigh Bardugo, Alexia Harrow, Rainbow Rowell, Holly Black, and Jay Kristoff. So I'm so excited to read this one. I love, first of all, villains. 2, I love when women are the villains. And 3, this just seems like a really fun tale of like someone being sucked into their favorite book, which I feel like is a trope going on right now, because that's what happened in a novel love story as well. So I'm very excited for this, and I just like can't get over like the cover. It's just so gorgeous. And then last, but certainly not least, is a book I have been looking for so long. I almost started screaming in the middle of Barnes & Noble and crying, because when I tell you I've been looking for this book for so long, I thought that this cover version was a UK like exclusive, and I have like a harder time finding those because I don't really have any bookstores near me that carry UK covers, and sometimes I have a hard time finding them online. But that is Consider Me by Becca Mack. I wanted the watercolor versions of these, like see how beautiful that is, and it's a hockey romance. I already know I'm gonna love this. And they had the whole series there because I know the new one just came out. That one's called Fall With Me. So they had the whole series, but I wanted to stick within my gift card budget. So I only got the first one. But I love the watercolor. Just love it. So this one says, for a shot at love, he'll do whatever it takes. Carter Beckett is the NHL's best player, both on and off the ice. His career is at its peak, his team is performing better than ever, and there's no shortage of women to spend the night with. What more could he want? Olivia Parker isn't new to professional hockey players, thanks to her best friend's boyfriend, but she has no interest in dating one herself, no matter how hot he is. And anyway, she loves working as a teacher and hanging out with her best friend drama-free. Why would she want to spend her time stroking the ego of an arrogant athlete? But once Carter meets Olivia, he can't think of anyone else. Too bad for him, Olivia is hell-bent on keeping him at arm's length, with no intention of giving in to his charms. Perhaps it's time for Carter to give up his game. After all, nobody ever said he had to play fair. Sparks will fly as Carter does whatever it takes for Olivia to consider him. I'm so excited! When I tell you, I've literally been wanting this one for so long. And it says she is a Canadian author, so I think that's why this cover wasn't available like in the US. I think they had like US versions, and then normally the Canadian versions coincide with the UK versions. But I'm so happy I was able to find this at my local Barnes & Noble. I'm so excited to read this one, another hockey romance. So that's the mini haul. I think I just plan on hanging out and reading for the rest of the day. I think my husband and I are gonna wind up cooking later and maybe watching a little something. But other than that, oh, I am going to put my Halloween decorations up today. That is also what I'm planning on doing. So that is very exciting. I might show you guys some clips of me doing that, but I have so much stuff to put up. It's ridiculous, but I'm so excited. I have like a big fireplace downstairs that you guys have never seen, but I have like a whole mantle that I like to especially decorate for Halloween, and I'm so excited. I'm just totally in my cozy fall vibes. But for now, I think I'm gonna hang out and read a little bit in my book room and then go downstairs, decorate for Halloween, and make some dinner. To reorganize the back of my Kindle to put fall stickers in. Right now I have pumpkins, sweaters, hayrides, all this fun stuff. The book was better. The colors give me fall vibes. Same thing with this, the colors give me fall vibes. I love this one, it's so fall. Take me to the bookshop. A little pumpkin. This cutie baby. Love this guy. And this cozy little cottage window. Finished organizing it, and I think I love it. I found some other stickers that I got from Sinners and Stardust. So we have, you can see these, little ghosty guy. Forever is a long time pup. I'm really excited to read this book. It's by K.M. Moranova. It's called The Fabric of Our Souls. Then little Take Me to the Bookshop. This little skeleton, he says, can't you see I'm reading? The pumpkin, Scream for Love, and it's like all the like guys from some of like the older horror movies. Then we have this Scream one, and then The Book Was Better. I think I really like how it turned out. I feel like I need a little something up here, but I'll probably find something. There were some more options that I didn't show you. So we have Oriah from Serpent in the Wings of Night. We have this little girl. She's adorable. And then we have these guys. I forget which book these are from, but I just love this so much. I don't think I'm gonna add anything to it right now. I think I'm just gonna keep it like that. I think I like it. So now that my Kindle's all set for fall, I'm so happy. Hello, I wanted to do a quick update on the Fall of Bradley Reed. This book has been making me kick my feet and giggle. I just quickly want to talk about the premise of it. So, a girl gets left at the altar 10 minutes before she's supposed to get married. That is our main character, Olivia. So then she goes through this process of rediscovering herself, trying to get over her people-pleasing ways, while also trying to get revenge on her ex. But little does she know, she is being watched by the FBI because something is going on with Bradley, her ex, and so they've been being watched for like the past year. So this FBI agent starts intervening because he needs to keep her out of jail in order to put Bradley away. So he keeps intervening because all the revenge she's going to partake in is literally going to kill Bradley. So he's keeping her away from that. I love it so far. The writing is so good. It's just so casual and quirky. I love Olivia. I see a lot of myself in her because she has these like people-pleasing tendencies, and she's trying to just rediscover herself when she's not trying to please people. And there's a little old lady character, which I always find the little old lady characters to be my favorite because I think I'm a little old lady at heart. And so there's Edna, which is Bradley's neighbor, but she basically adopts Olivia to be her like granddaughter. Not really, but like, you know, figuratively. And she's so funny. She tries to like hook her up with the FBI agent because like he's intervening and they wind up at her house. So she's trying to like hook them up, and it's so funny because she's like, "You are a waste of youth, Olivia Anderson. You two are fake dating and you're not boning yet." Like, she's so funny. She's just like this unhinged old little lady. There's also the cutest nickname in this book. He calls her Menace, or like Little Menace, and I love that so much. And he's also hysterical because he's like, this psychotic woman, she's so unhinged, and they keep showing her browser history, and it's just so funny. Like, I've been laughing this whole time, and like the writing's good, but it's nothing to like be going crazy about, but it's still good and it's still substantial in there. The only thing that I don't love is like every 2 seconds it keeps saying like people keep like checking in on her, and like I can feel that tension that like she's getting annoyed. But like also I feel like every 10 seconds it's like, "You were just left at the altar, you were just left at the altar," and it's so repetitive in that fact. And then it's also repetitive in the fact that she's like, "Oh, I don't care, I was just left at the altar, I didn't even like him." And like she keeps going into these like rabbit holes of like trying to figure out where her relationship went wrong. So I feel like it's a little repetitive in that sense. But other than that, I'm 46% of the way through, and I plan on doing some more reading tonight. So I'm very excited. I just got home from work. I have my iced pumpkin chai in the back, and I'm gonna do some reading. And I'm also gonna be decorating for Halloween tonight because I didn't do that yesterday. I got too tired. But I just wanted to do that quick update on my book. And I'm hoping to finish this one soon so I can start another one on my fall TBR for you guys and get through another book in this cozy reading vlog. But I'm having a really good time. And like I said, I am really loving this book. So. Hello. So it's been a few days since I filmed this video because as a life update, I fell down the stairs and I thought I broke my foot, but I didn't. But it's really been hurting, so I haven't been going up and down the stairs. So I haven't been filming in my room, but I figured I'd finally film down here for you guys because I finally finished The Fall of Bradley Reed, which, you wanna know what? It's fall. The book has fall in the title, and I fell. So I have my pumpkin spice coffee right here with me. I'm ready to give you all of the updates and what I thought on The Fall of Bradley Reed. So since I'm scatterbrained sometimes, I wanted to do more of a structured kind of like review slash my final thoughts on the book. So basically the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go through what I thought about the writing, the characters, the plot, and then my overall thoughts and ratings. So first of all, let's start with the writing. It was very simple but beautiful. I thought that a lot of the lines packed a punch. Like, it's the first book in a while that I was like highlighting a lot on my Kindle and trying to like remember quotes just because I thought that the quotes had a lot of meaning to them. It is an indie published book, so there were some typos. If that's going to bother you, then this book might not be for you, but it didn't really bother me too much because it wasn't too many. But other than that, the writing was gorgeous. Like I said, very meaningful, very poetic, very beautiful, and I loved the emotion and intention behind every word that was written. And then when it wanted to be silly goofy, it could take it to that level and be this silly goofy time that a rom-com can be. Now we're gonna move on to characters. The main character, Olivia Anderson, I loved her. She's a recovering people pleaser. So like I've said before, she gets left at the altar 10 minutes before, and she realizes she's a people pleaser and was only entering this marriage to please her mother and to like achieve this social status her mother wanted for her. So I think that I saw a lot of myself in her because it was a lot of people pleasing, and she's trying to put herself and her happiness first, and she's giving herself the time to like understand that she's not responsible for others' emotions, and I feel that very heavily. So I related a lot to her. I thought she was a very likable character and went through a very good character growth arc with her coming into herself, rediscovering herself after she's left. And she discovers her self-worth, and I loved that. There was a lot of like women empowerment in this book, and that was amazing. Moving on to our other main character, Andre Valenti. He's our FBI agent. He is stalking her for his job, and he was such a sweetheart. This is a perfect example of he falls first and he falls harder. He fell in love with her. Every chapter he was like, I'm so fucked. Like, I love this girl. So I loved that. I love when a man is down bad for his woman. And I really liked how he handled their situation. So he basically kept her out of prison for the trial, but he also didn't want anything bad to happen to her, so he stopped her from getting all of her revenge because it was extremely unhinged and she was going to take things too far. So she finds herself in a situation where there's too much press around her and she needs a bodyguard. So she obviously thinks he's a bodyguard. She hires him. So he's this fake boyfriend, fake dating bodyguard. He tries to set a boundary and says, you know, like, I don't want a real relationship because things are steaming up between them. But he's actually saying he doesn't want the real relationship because he knows he's lying to her, and if they wind up being together after this trial is over, or after this case is over, he doesn't want there to be any like beef or like bad anything between them. So I really respected his character for that. I also loved that every time he took her on a date, he was flirting with her. He was like, oh, this is actually a date. And then he just fell for her so hard, and then he was like, you know what, screw it, we're just going to be together. And I really loved that he like was manly enough and in tune with his emotions enough to realize that he liked her, and like to not be confused and to know what he wants and to also protect her feelings. And he was also the most supportive king ever. I loved it. He was empowering her to discover herself, put herself first, worry about her before anybody else, including him. He protected her from her awful mother, and it was just so good. I loved him. I thought them together was also amazing. They just supported each other and loved each other and needed the physical touch and time together. It was wonderful. And there wasn't too much spice in this book. I would probably give it maybe 2.5 spicy peppers out of 5. There were a few scenes, I'd say maybe more towards like the 70% mark of the book and on, that really were like in-depth, non-closed door scenes, like where things were actually happening. But again, there maybe were 3 or 4, maybe 5 scenes max that had any spice taking place in them. So I thought it was a good balance. Someone that doesn't like a lot of spice might think it's too much, but they are very easy chapters to skip, and their relationship isn't just dependent on spice. There's also the emotional aspect there. So I thought that was very well done. And then we're gonna go on to my favorite character of this entire book, Edna. She is the little old lady neighbor that is crude and loudmouthed and in everyone's business, and she tries to get Andre and Olivia together when they just bump into each other, and she takes him in to help him stitch up his face when he runs into Olivia for the first time. So there were so many quotes that were so iconic from her, and the one was, you two are together like fake dating and you're not gonna tap that. She's like, how dare you, Olivia Anderson, you're a waste of youth. It just makes me laugh so hard. And so she was very direct in that way, and I love a funny, direct, in everyone's business little old lady character, they're my favorite. They just described how like her husband died and she loves love and she tries to get people together and watches rom-coms and reads about love, and she just loves love, and I thought that was adorable. She was definitely one of my favorite parts of this entire book, and I loved that she was like kind of woven throughout. I think that concludes the character portion. Obviously Bradley Reed is a human piece of garbage and I hated Olivia's mother. And then I liked the addition of her friends. I love her relationship with Cami and Cece. And then I thought it was also very fun to see a cameo from Abby and Damien, which are in 'Tis the Season for Revenge, which I have read. I love that they're like super interconnected, so the characters are all in each other's books. I thought that's a really fun aspect as well. The plot overall was good, and I thought the subplots were really good. The main plot is more of a character-driven plot, so it's just Olivia finding her own, finding herself, maneuvering her way through life without the influence of her friends and her family, and her meeting Andre, realizing the love that she deserves, and realizing that she deserves to be happy and to discover who she is without anybody else's influence. So that's the main kind of meat and potatoes, shall we say, of the story. And then, you know, Andre's kind of developing there with her, but not really. The main focus is Olivia, which I loved, and he's just there as that supporting role to push her to improve herself by trying to make herself happy before anybody else. And then the subplot is the FBI investigation with Bradley. And so it is said that Bradley was funneling money through his investing company, and he put everything in Olivia's name and was going to frame her. So Andre's trying to figure this out, keep her out of jail. And I think that the way that that subplot wrapped up was extremely smart. I'm not going to talk about it because it is a spoiler, but I thought it was a very genius way of doing it because it did involve Olivia, and it kind of furthered her character growth with her need for revenge, which I also think is a very funny subplot, is her trying to get revenge. This is what pushes their love story along, her and Andre, because he's trying to stop her from doing all these unhinged things, and it is completely hysterical what she tries to do and all of the absurd things she's looking up and searching and trying to do to get back at her ex just because she craves that feeling of revenge. And then she also enters a jilted brides group, and she also tries to get them to take revenge on their significant others that left them as well. So overall, it is really a character-driven story with the romance subplot, but it also has the investigation subplot with that revenge also. Overall, I really loved this book. I read it pretty quickly for me reading a book, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. I made a collage for it, which I'll pop up in the corner of the screen. I really had a good time reading this. Like I said, the writing was simple, the characters were very well thought out, they both had enough background to develop them as characters and enough development throughout the story to also have them as like full-fledged characters. I thought the side characters were quirky and good. Like I said, all of the plots and the subplots moved along pretty quickly and also wrapped up in a very nice way. And I loved the ending of this book. It was just beautiful, so heartfelt. There are so many heartfelt things that Andre does for her that every woman wants in their life. It's just, he's such a heartthrob. I love how he falls for her, and he's the grumpy to her sunshine, and she's just completely enamored with him. So yeah, for tropes, it's grumpy sunshine, I guess FBI agent, the person he's watching. It's a little bit of fake dating. There is the miscommunication trope, kind of, but it does get resolved quickly. And there's the revenge subplot, like I said, if that's how you want to categorize that. There is a struggling mother-daughter relationship in this, and then also found family with the friends and family that she finds along the way, which I love. But overall, I gave this a 4.5 stars. I thought it was really well written. I really enjoyed it. It was a very fun time. And I have now moved on to another spooky, cozy Halloween novel, and that is Spookily Yours by Jennifer Chipman. So I did mention this in my fall TBR video. So I'll be reading this one next. It's also on Kindle Unlimited. It's only like 250 pages, so I'm very excited. And so far, I love it. I'm only like one chapter in, and it is so atmospherically fall. It's a small witch town. Her and her sister own a coffee shop bakery. The way they describe the trees and the leaves and the crunchy leaves and the smell of pumpkins and the smell of coffee. It's so atmospherically fall. It's gorgeous so far. So basically, it is an openly witched town. Her familiar has passed away because he was a very old cat. And so now she's on this journey to find another cat and kind of start living life again after her familiar has passed. And I already love her relationship with her sister. And the premise of the book says that the cat that she winds up finding and adopting winds up being a demon, and she winds up falling in love with him. So I'm very excited to get into this. It's yet another quirky Halloween novel that I know I'm just going to be obsessed with. So I'm going to go read some more, and I will update you guys when I have stuff to talk about. Hi guys, I am back with my final update for this video. I finished Spookily Yours. I'm sorry I didn't update you during the process of me reading it. It was a very short book, and I was reading it mostly at night, and I wound up finishing it rather quickly. And I also had a super busy weekend, so I'm just going to give you my final thoughts on this book, what I rated it, and just some of my general thoughts that I had throughout the time of me reading it. I did write some stuff down while I was reading, so I can share those thoughts with you so you can kind of see my insights and what I was thinking while reading it. This is my last book for this video, and the next vlog I will be starting is random number generator chooses how many hours I read a day for a week. So before I tell you what I thought of this book, I just wanted to share a fun experience I had this weekend. So I actually went to the New York Renaissance Fair because I live in New Jersey, and I got this really fun hat. Look at how gorgeous that is. It's a little acorn on the back. I just wanted to share that with you because I'm so excited about that, and I thought that would be fun to share. And then I also got this little spider necklace. Look how cute that is. I love it. So I just wanted to share those things with you before I got started on my thoughts. Now we're going to talk about Spookily Yours. So it is a very short Halloween romance novel. It was only like 250 or 60 pages, I believe. And it was about this witch. She lives in Pleasant Grove, and her familiar passes away, and she goes to the cat shelter to find another familiar, and this one kind of like pulls to her and kind of speaks to her, so she winds up adopting him. Some little insight on the main character: her name is Willow, which I love. I think that name is so pretty. And then her sister's name is Luna, and they own a bakery slash like coffee shop together, and that had the best vibes. The sister was always baking like little Halloween pumpkin treats. It was adorable, and I really enjoyed these small town vibes. It was just like there were a few shops that were like quirkily named after witchy things, and then she had her coven that she had grown up with her entire life, so it was giving those small town Stars Hollow vibes. If I could give you the generalization of this book, it's basically Stars Hollow, which is Gilmore Girls, meets Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So after she adopts this cat, she finds out he's a demon, and she attempts to change him back, and then obviously he becomes a man again and they fall in love. So that's the basic premise of this story. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to give anything away, but let's go over the basic vibes of the writing. I really liked the writing. It was very atmospheric. The author talked a lot about fall, obviously, because it's set around Halloween. I think it was mostly set in the months of September through October, so it was definitely the perfect read for this time of year. She described the crunchy leaves on the ground, the way the leaves looked. She described the air and the atmosphere, and all of the Halloween decorations in the coffee shop and around town. And the main character lived in an old Victorian mansion, so the atmospheric writing was definitely there. Now, the dialogue could have used some work. I thought some of it was a little cringy, and some of it seemed a little too simplistically written, but other than that, I actually enjoyed the writing, and I thought that the plot was okay. The plot was basically just, again, like another character-driven story, but our main male character, Damien, the demon, he was hiding something from Willow that we were trying to figure out. So there's that little element of mystery that kept pushing the story forward. I feel like everything was just like wrapped up and unraveled in like the last maybe 50 pages. So I would have liked a little bit more mystery and suspense, and I would have liked if the plot kind of had a better progression and not just this weird build up and then a really fast tie up at the end. I wanted more, and it didn't really give me that. I also would have liked more with the sister maybe, but I do know that the next book that came out, Wickedly Yours, is the sister's book, and that we're gonna see some stuff at the end from her perspective in the beginning of that book, so I get it. But it was kind of just, the plot kind of just went from, okay, here's this cat, that got solved very quickly. Then it went to this kind of slow burn that wasn't really a slow burn, and it was kind of just like an awkward dancing around the subject of that the two main characters liked each other, then they were together, then it was a super fast progression of their relationship, and then it was a super fast progression of the plot just tying up in the end. There was no third act breakup, so if you don't like third act breakups, that was really good. I thought that the secret he was keeping from her was going to end in this huge blow up where the miscommunication happens, but it didn't. They kind of just glossed over it, which again, I don't know if I loved. I just wish there was like a little bit more there. For the length of this book, I think that the characters had really good backgrounds and pretty good depth to them. We learned about Olivia's family and her background, and we also learned about Damien's family and his background, his kind of tragedy of not living before he met Willow. So I thought it was interesting. I think that the characters could have used a little bit more depth, because while there was that kind of like, these characters have this trauma and that's why they act this way, and this is how it contributed to their personality, they kind of felt a little surface level. Like, I couldn't really tell you, like, I really like a character that I could look at something and be like, you know what, that would be their favorite ice cream, or like that would be their favorite book. Like, I love when we have the amount of depth to a character where I feel like they're my friend and I feel like I could tell you things about them. So these characters were slightly surface level, but again, for the length of the book, I think they had a decent amount of depth. There was spice in this book. It didn't really happen till like maybe the 70% mark, and then the rest of the book was kind of like every other scene was a spicy scene, and it went pretty in depth. So if that's not your thing, then they're pretty easy to skim over. So I wouldn't say it's a complete turn off for the book. I wouldn't say the spice level's too high. I would only give it like 2 spicy peppers out of 5. So it really wasn't too bad. So again, if that's not your thing, it's really easy to skip over, does not contribute to the plot. So you can still enjoy the full meaning of the story without having to experience those points. They wind up going to the demon realm. He goes in the beginning and then they go together in the end. And I really wish that the demon realm was kind of explained a little more, because it was just like, oh, it's so beautiful and it's not like hell and it's not this and it's not that, but they didn't tell us like what it was. And the next book is completely set in the demon realm, so I kind of wish they set that up for us a little better. I wish that there was an explanation as to like what things looked like, or if it was like the human world, or some kind of something. But we didn't get anything from that, so that was disappointing. I didn't like the fact that they just glossed over what happened to Willow and Luna's parents. They just said it was a freak accident. They said nothing more. I mean, I guess it's not really relevant, but when you're harping on this huge tragedy that happened in these girls' lives and you kind of just gloss it over, that made me aggravated. So I wish we would have gotten more on what happened to their parents. And the same thing with Damien's mom. They kind of just glossed over the fact that she died and that was it. So again, a little more depth, but it was just supposed to be a spooky, fun rom-com, fated mates, and that's what we got. So if you're going into this, don't expect much, just expect a silly, goofy, fun time, because you're not going to get this full in-depth story in only 260 pages. The main tropes in this were fated mates, slow burn, I guess, small town, touch her and you die, and I really think those are the main tropes. There are obviously going to be some sub-tropes within there that you see, but overall I gave it a 3 stars. I thought it was an enjoyable time, and I'm definitely going to remember it, but I don't think that I'm going to be thinking about these characters every day, and I don't think that I would heavily recommend this. I would just recommend this to people that like really silly, witchy, small town rom-coms. So if you like things like the Thistle Grove books, or if you like things like the X-Hex or Not the Witch You Wed, or any type of super Halloween-based witchy romance novel, then I would recommend them. They're just cute, quirky, there to have a fun time, and probably only read in a couple of hours. So, but it's not like I wouldn't recommend it. So if you're into that kind of thing, definitely pick it up. It's a great seasonal read, and it's on Kindle Unlimited, and the second one just came out. So I do recommend if that is your thing. I am going to end the video here. Thank you for spending this time with me. It was wonderful. It was a very cozy vlog, and I had a great time filming it. I got 2 books read. I took a trip to Barnes & Noble, and we got a lovely little book haul out of this. Thank you always for watching, and if you made it this far in the video, please leave a little witch hat or some kind of witch. Is there a witch hat? Maybe not. Leave some kind of little witch emoji in the comments. Also in the comments, please leave any witchy rom-coms that you love, because I feel like this vlog was basically just me reading witchy rom-coms for the past like week or so, and I really enjoyed it. Don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button and turn your YouTube notification bells on. Everything that helps support the channel. Again, I thank you so much for watching this video and supporting me all the time. I will see you guys in the next one, and bye. I love you.